right. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Land Stories Live. I am your host, Dave Deniston of Generation Family Properties, LLC, where our goal is to help hundreds of people like you own land. And most of all, we would love to tell your land story. Well, today, my friends, I am flying solo. And of course, you know what that means. We got some good old bad dad jokes. But before we get to that, we are going to be having a new segment here the next few weeks. We are going to talk about the 10 largest landowners in America. So I'm really excited for this. We've been doing some research, and it's going to be really fun to dive into this. And also, you know, it's the featured property in back of me today. This is a property incredibly affordable in New Mexico. It is less than $50 a month for this property. So stay tuned. We are going to get into that. Now, of course, it is time for the bad dad jokes. All right, my friends. So what do you call someone with no body and no nose? What do you call someone with nobody and no nose? Nobody knows. Get it? Nobody knows. Bad dad joke number 2. Right now, I am reading a book about anti-gravity. I am reading a book about anti-gravity. And you know what? It is impossible to put down. It is impossible to put down. Oh, I love those so much. All right, so now that we're done with the bad dad jokes, I wanted to tell you a bit about this new segment. I get inspired by looking at people who are way ahead of where I would love to be. And I get inspired by things like legacy and things and people that really reach and achieve their dreams. And so I'm guessing if you are listening to this podcast or watching me online, you are too, because you're interested in land. And so we're going to, next 10 weeks, we're going to go through the top 10 landowners. And we're going to start with number 10 and work our way all to number 1. And if you can tell me all top 10 by the time we're said and done, just email me with that list at the end of our segments. Then it's going to be spread out over the next 10 episodes, which will be something like half a year. Then I will send you a gift card. One person, a gift card for $100, 10 times 10. So if you do that, that's what we're going to do. All right, so let's talk about number 10. Number 10 of the largest landowners of America is a family, and they have 830,000 acres of land. 830,000 acres of land, based mostly in Maine and New Hampshire. A family that I had never heard of before, that they first started buying land back in 1841. So they are 180 years ahead of us here, those of us who are just getting started on our land fortune. And obviously they pass it from person to person. Well, what is the name of this family? It is the Pingree family, Pingree. And the gentleman who started it, his name was David Pingree, again, Pingree. And what he started with that I think is so interesting and so cool about it was this guy started out as a merchant. So he was a successful shipper. He was born in Massachusetts, so he was an American, and he moved later on to Bridgeton, Maine. After graduating from school, he joined his uncle, Thomas Perkins, in shipping. So they owned a firm that was called Peabody and Perkins, and he closely worked with another merchant, Edward Kimball. Well, Thomas Perkins died in 1830, And then he inherited his uncle's wealth. And he started to ship and continue to ship merchandise throughout the world. And then around 1820, he started to buy land. So before his uncle died, he had actually already bought land. He bought some eastern lands in New Hampshire and Mount Washington. He actually built a carriage road to the summit of Mount Washington, which was a really big accomplishment at the time. As a matter of fact, his businesses became so large, he became known as the Merchant Prince of Salem. In 1831, David Pingree became the president of Naumkeag Bank, and then he became the president of Naumkeag Cotton Company in 1845, and he held the position until his death in about 1863. Oh, excuse me. At the age of 67. So this guy passed away like 160 years ago, just about. And what's, I think, so unusual is most of the time a head of a family passes and all of a sudden things are just gone. And what's cool about this guy is it's obviously passed on to his heirs, many different generations. Now we're talking 4 or 5 generations later. And the Seven Islands Land Company is what is owned by his family today, which is tied to another family entity, Pingree Associates. Now, at one point, they had 1 million acres of land, but they've slowly kind of been selling it off. So maybe they'll drop out of our top 10. And of that 1 million acres, 2,000 miles of it is shore frontage across major streams and rivers, more than 100 lakes. We're talking just the lakefront is 25,000 acres of deer yards and 72,000 of wetland habitat. Now, much of what they own is land kind of around state parks today. And they have negotiated an arrangement with the New England Forestry Foundation to sell undevelopable easements on 3/4 of their nearly 1 million acres. The remaining 250,000 acres were made for development, which is kind of how they got to where they are today. Now you can look them up online at sevenislands.com, and they talk about what they're doing. They're making a good deal of money still through forestry. So a lot of the land that they have is heavily forested, and they are making money through harvesting that, constructing roads, milling, chipping, all of those kinds of things that come with it. They have several different families of companies that are associated with all this today. They have the Maine Woods Company, LLC, which is a precision lumber manufacturer. They have Orion Timberlands, LLC, which is a full-service forest and timberland management company. And they deal with more appraisals and woodlot services, management and planning, and so on. And they have another company that's called Portage Wood Chips. And so they get all the wood chips and they send it to all kinds of landscapers and companies that would sell to landscapers. Now, what's interesting as I looked at it, as how this got started, what happened originally, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Far and Away, but what happened in that movie with Tom Cruise is you had a bunch of land that was for sale in Oklahoma, that there was this huge rush to get out there, and immigrants went out and did that. And what originally happened with some of these family ownerships with David Pingree, Maine was just newly a state. Previously, Maine had been part of Massachusetts, and that area in now northern Maine has been divided into 6-mile square townships that were sold at auction. So all of this land in northern Maine that they bought was government land. So in today's world, we often look at BLM land that is close to a lot of our land, which is land that the government owns, the Bureau of Labor Management, Land Management. And even today, from time to time, the government will auction off federal land. In the meantime, people can hunt and go through that BLM land. with the right tags and all that stuff. And so what he did was the family essentially pooled their resources and bought this land. And over time that changed, and they became more of these woodcutters. And so this is a family that I think is so neat, just everything that they've done. We're going to put some more links in the show notes so you can check out more history about them and learn more about the family. And if anyone ever has any stories, I would love to hear it and share it. So that ends our fun kind of educational segment of the podcast, and we're going to be now moving on to our featured property. So what I think is so neat is being in this business, we get to explore so many different areas and try new things. And we are coming back to a county that we bought one property in about a year and a few months ago. And we've been exploring other areas since. And so we decided to come back to this county in New Mexico, where we have this property, is in Luna County, New Mexico. So if you look at a New Mexico map and you look to see where is Luna County, New Mexico, Luna County, New Mexico has in the middle of it the city of Deming, which is where this lot is close to. It is to the west of Las Cruces, down in the southern westmost corner of the state. Almost in the south. It's kind of southern central, I guess, I would say. So let me share my screen with you, those of you that are watching on video. So you can see here I have the Google map pulled up. El Paso isn't too far away from Deming. We have had quite a bit of land in Otero County, which is 2 counties over to the east. 2 counties to the west are Arizona, and directly south of Luna County is New Mexico. So you're not too far away from the Gila National Forest here. You're not all that close to Albuquerque or Santa Fe, which are much further to the northeast. So this is a fairly undeveloped area in general, but what we love about it is there are definitely some things in place. It's a wonderful place if you're a snowbird and you want to get away from the cold. You want some place where you can go warm up, maybe take your RV and hang out for a little while. This is a wonderful place to do that because the average temperatures here, you're looking more in the 70s and 80s over the wintertime. Now, a little bit about the area, and then we'll talk about the property. We're going to include several links in the show notes on the podcast if you want to check it out later. There's some cool attractions nearby. I like this link a lot, which takes you through some of what they got. There's some memorial libraries, a cool courthouse in Deming. They have something a little unique called the Great American Duck Race. And this is something that started about 40 years ago. And they have up to 80 live ducks racing for cash prizes in an 8-lane chute. And so there's definitely some cool stuff that happens there with parades and dances and hot air balloons, arts and crafts, chili cook-off, lots of people dressed like ducks. So fun little thing they got there. They changed a old gravel pit into a modern amphitheater with a big pavilion. So that's kind of cool to check out. Some of the main attractions that I think are really fun is they have some volcanic museums where you can see some neat geological stuff. There's for rockhounds, there's a state park called Rockhound State Park because there's tons of agates and quartz crystals there, and there's lots of great hiking. Another thing that I like is, let's see if we got it here. There's a fort here, Fort Sill Apache. So that's kind of cool to check out. And then the one I really like is the City of Rocks. This is a beautiful area with all of these rocks, and it is amazing for stargazing. So if you want to go gaze at some stars, you're at about 5,000 feet. You're nowhere close to civilization. There are some RV spots here at the state park. So you want to go chill out and check it out, you definitely can do that. It's between Silver City and Deming, so it's not too far away. If you love to hike, mountain bike, wildlife viewing, it is a perfect place for that. Now, a little bit about this property that we have in terms of where it's located. You can see it's a little south of Deming, and you have gorgeous views, just like we have in the photo behind me, of the Florida mountains wilderness area. This particular property, it is real close to the highway, so you don't have to worry about going through tons of bad roads because you're super close to be able to get off the highway and get into the property. The other thing is, because there's some homes around, we are pretty confident there's electrical lines to this property, being close to the highway and everything. So you're not too far away from electricity. You can see as I zoom around here on the map, there's a few people here and there, but not very many. Some other photos of just the area here. You can see this is kind of more high desert area where there's a few bushes, nice mountain views, again, electricity in the area. So this is not like Tiburon with big trees and stuff like that. You can see how beautiful the mountain is here. Great place to hike and go around, and well-maintained county roads across most of this. What I love most about this property, and part of the reason that we started this whole business, was the affordability. This is the most affordable property you are ever going to see us have. Anyone could afford the budget for this property. All we're looking for is $1,000 if you pay cash, and we will waive that document fee. Or if you want to do owner financing, we're looking for only $39 a month. You can ignore the what it says here about the maintenance fee. We're just looking for $39 a month. That's it. So you can't get much affordable than that. It's anyone with a budget can certainly afford $40 a month. So I am really excited to have this property in an area we haven't been to in a long, long time. Taxes here are only about $3 a month, $30 a year. It's a half acre in size, so it's big enough where you have some space, but if someone was interested in buying some of the lots around that, we would be happy to try and help out with that. It does have a street address associated with it, and some things about it. There's no HOA here. We have a number for the electrical company. You certainly can camp or RV here with a permit, which is about $30 a year. You can build, just like many other areas we have. 600 square feet is the bare minimum. And we just have lots more pictures and maps and all kinds of stuff on the website. So my friends, if you have any other questions about this, please let me know. And so my friends, that wraps up the episode for today. Please tune to us live every Monday at 11:30 a.m. Central. And if you have a question about land, or even better, if you have a bad dad joke, send them off to me, contact@genfamproperties.com, or you can make sure to reach out to me on the Facebook page. Thanks again so much for tuning into Land Stories with me, your host, Dave Deniston. Make sure to check out all of our properties at www.genfamproperties.com. And if you are looking for land, you want to talk about this property or a different one, it would be my honor to speak with you. Please feel free to give me a call directly, 775-234-2058. Again, 775-234-2058. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.